Seahawks at Titans.
I never take huge favorites. I'm breaking my rule. Seattle minus 13.5 at Tennessee. Tennessee's 0-5 at home. 6 of their losses are by over 10. Seattle outgained the Rams by 165 points, outplayed them the final 3 quarters, almost won with 4 picks. They're a great road team, 11-2, because defense and running games travel. Seattle does both well. Sam Darnold, despite the picks, PFF has him ranked number 2. Tennessee's atrocious. Worst point differential in the league. They do nothing right. I think the locker room may be lost at this point. I hate taking huge favorites. Seattle wins and covers 31-13.
Wow. Seattle Seahawks. I'm excited to see what this is actually a big game. Allow me to explain. Seattle Seahawks, I believe in you. I think you're great. I think you're a top 2 in the NFL. I am a big believer in McDonald, Clint Kubiak, and Sam Darr. Obviously, of course, Jackson Smith and Jigba and company in that defense. You lost a wonky game against Los Angeles Rams. A game that I argued. There was a lot of optimism in that game. Yeah. If you're thrown off by Sam Darnold's performance and that offensive performance, you'd be like, I don't know, what does this mean moving forward? And that's fine. We've already unpacked that. But I made the argument of you know what? That was not a perfect game. It was a tough divisional game against a great team. 2 great teams going toe-to-toe. You did not get the best version of the Seattle Seahawks. Turned the ball over all that time, didn't even have a good, final minute drive, and yet you were still a field goal away from winning that game. Clearly imperfect. Clearly imperfect. And so that to me just garnered a lot of optimism from me. And now that locker room's going to be frustrated. They're going to be annoyed. And they're going to want revenge. Colin has talked about this before, years ago, where it's when a team kind of gets embarrassed or has a tough loss, when they go that next week, they play big. Now, I wouldn't say that losing to the Rams is necessarily the equivalent of losing essentially losing a game against the Titans right now, right? That would be that equivalent of now next week Seattle's going to be oh my gosh, we are going all in. We are going in attack mode. But I do feel that left feelings of disgust losing to the Rams, and specifically how the game unfolded. Not just the loss, it's just how things unfolded. And so I'm excited to see what the answer is for this Seattle team. And that's the fun about having a new up-and-coming team, because it would be a little bit different if it was the Eagles and the Chiefs and the Bills and Ravens. And don't get me wrong, they still need to show those things too. But we'd still have enough information over the years to just kind of have just a more solidified view of what we can expect, what's necessary. It's if the Eagles or the Bills, and I know things have changed a little bit this year, but just the way how it had been over these last few years, it's if they lost a tough game and if Mahomes turned the ball over a bunch or whatever, now they're going up against a bad team, I wouldn't need to see them blow them out. But I wouldn't feel comfortable with a close game either against a team like the Tennessee Titans. But with the Seahawks, I'm kind of looking for what am I looking for here? And it's I don't need them to necessarily hang 31, but at the same time, it's you do want to see domination. You do want to see the absolute definition of we are in control of this game. Although not one of those weird things where you're wow, it's 14-10 going into the third quarter right now. What's, I feel the Seahawks are in control of this game, but why aren't they pulling away? Why haven't they've been 2 for 6 on third down since the second quarter or whatever, right? You're just oh, what's going on right now? And so you don't want one of those moments. The only time that those moments are kind of okay to me, and I kind of go back and forth in this, because sometimes we see games like that where you're kind of this is a weirdly close game right now, and it shouldn't be, and then it gets completely blown open in the second half. Then it's just all right, this game's not close. It is one of those weird 107 games going into the second half, and then in a blink of the eye, you're what? It's 35-10, and you're oh, okay. What happened here? But oftentimes that's because then the opposing team's offense starts to really cough the ball up, big special teams play. Rarely does that happen where it's now the offense now is just rolling, and then the defense is just constantly forcing 3 and outs or stops. Usually it's kind of something more profound happens, which then kind of it does twist a little bit of the conclusion there, because then it's just these desperate bad teams just start to really play beyond themselves, especially if it's kind of a close game. They're we're going for it on fourth down on our own 30. Like, let's go, right? And not only that, but we're ripping it down the field, and you're like, all right, I mean, you probably should have just continued how you were playing and tried to grind it out, but whatever. I want to see like a bounce back intensity game. A game where you're looking at that Seahawks team and you just see them like ready, engaged, focused, fired up, playing high quality, buttoned up football. This defense is just looking aggressive. Sam is looking comfortable, confident, right? Like, this is just one of those games where they win so easily. And I come out here and I'm just like, there's not a lot of takeaways right now. Like, this was a really easy, straightforward game, a bounce back game. But like, it's against the Tennessee Titans, so like, it doesn't matter, right? Like, if they win 31-13, it's not like, see, that's how good they are. It's just like, they've shown that to me, but it never hurts to continue to reinforce that. And I do think the early stages of a team like the Seattle Seahawks, like, you need to continue to reinforce that. I always push back often sometimes with some fans in the comment section who are always like, no, this team knows who they are. And whether it's a Seahawks or, I don't know, it could be other various fan bases. And it's like, no, like, this team is still trying to figure out who they are. And yeah, they have a lot of confidence in the locker room, but like, there's still question marks. There really is a difference between the team that has done it and the team before and the team that hasn't. And that is the massive benefit that, say, a Rams team has, that an Eagles team has, that the Kansas City Chiefs have. Like, they have that advantage over the new Patriots, over this Colts team, over the Lions. I mean, and even, it doesn't mean that you even have to win a Super Bowl, because I still think there will be a lot of belief in, say, the Lions or the Bills or the Ravens. Especially if we're talking about the layers of belief. And the Seahawks they're not even at that level yet, because they haven't done it. And it's understandable, like, it makes sense. And I think you can just continue to kind of just work that soil to become that team by even taking care of teams like the Titans in a strong, convincing way. I mean, that's why you start to kind of question even like maybe like a team like the Packers or the Chiefs in the past, where you're just kind of like, this game was harder than it should have been. And like, that's where people started to struggle with the Chiefs last year. They made it to the Super Bowl, but then they get rocked by the Eagles. But you're just kind of like, why did you struggle so much with the Panthers? Like, why did that game weirdly get close with the Raiders? Like, what? And you're just like, and that's where they're at with the Packers this year, where they're like, why was that game so close with the Cardinals? Like, and the Ravens this year, like, why Shador Sanders and Dylan Gabriel almost came away with like, yeah, I know they have a good defense. Yeah, I know there is a good, you were dealing with some injuries, but like, and it's a divisional game, but you're still like, I don't know. This was kind of a got to have it moment, and it was too close for comfort here. And with the Bills yesterday against the Texans, yeah, that defense is legit, but you're like, Davis Mills and that offense, they kind of scored too easily against that Bills defense, and you're like, I don't know right now. And so you're just looking for the reinforcements. And I promise you, the team needs itself. The coaching staff needs it themselves. Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith, like, they all need it. They're not invincible beings. They all need the confidence. They all need to solidify. They all need to win the boost as well. And so that's just ultimately what I'm looking for in this game. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Seattle Seahawks being favored big time, 13.5? And again, I don't care about that, but they're obviously clearly expected to win big against the Tennessee Titans. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.